Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you with some Steelers talk. Always tough after the loss, dropping to 5-8, I believe. Kenny Pickett gets knocked out early. Steelers lose a tough one to the Ravens, and almost the score I predicted. I mean, your typical Steelers-Ravens score, 16-14. Someone scores because they scored over 15. Someone scores. Someone wins because they scored over 15 points. I got Gingy. I got Laskers. You already heard my breakdown of it on the Bugcast, so I'm just going to throw it straight over to them to see what they saw in the football game.
Gingy in the house. Tough fought loss. You know how you talk about having a bit but grit? You know, you have a gritty game. Steelers are the grunt. Okay, they got grunted on in the fourth quarter, and it's very, very disappointing to me, Donkey. Dobbins run it down their throat. Edwards had good runs. Very little resistance throughout the game to the run. Opportunities to be had. Mitchell Trubisky, never been an overwhelming quarterback, but typically took care of the ball, didn't take care of it in this game. Blocked field goal. Special teams issues continue.
17-yard punt.
You end up with an L, Donkey.
Gingy, come on, before we let Laskers break it in, because Laskers, I want to have you go off this comment from Gingy and get your take on it. Did we learn why the Pittsburgh Steelers never threw the ball over the middle in the first half of the year, since the offense was designed for Mitch Trubisky? And clearly when he throws the ball over the middle, bad things happen. I mean, 3 INTs all over the middle, all because he can't read coverage or come off his first read. Is that why we didn't do it, Gingy?
No comment.
Laskers, maybe Matt Canada needs a little bit of the blame taken off him. Is that what we saw this week in the Baltimore game?
I don't really have a comment on that, but my thing is, come on, Gigi. He threw 25 for 27 if you include the 3 picks.
The ball, very
no comment on that either.
If you think about it, he was 22 for 27, and then he threw 3 picks.
Yeah, I thought about it too much already.
He was 25 for 27.
I can't think about it anymore.
We did get a garbage time touchdown there. I mean, everyone can say what they want, but it was a garbage time touchdown we led down to get to Freiermuth in there. But nice to see big old Pat catch himself a touchy. Mitch Trubisky throwing into quadruple coverage makes me nervous about this week, but we won't get into that. We want to finish the Baltimore take. Laskers, special teams. Block field goal when you know Calais Campbell is Calais Campbell. Seriously, how do you let that guy through the line? And then second off, how the heck does Shankopotamus get to keep having a job with no competition? I mean, the guy we had here last year, Waitman, is averaging like 48 yards a punt in Denver, and we're keeping Shankopotamus with his. Is that it? Hold on. Someone needs to actually find the stat for me. How many punts under 20 yards does he have this year? 5, 6, 7, 100? It seems every game he has one under 20 yards, Laskers.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And, I think I texted you guys this. It's like, we drafted him. You can't just abandon him. I mean, it's the same conversation we've had with Najee. We drafted him. You can't get rid of him because that's your drafted guy.
I don't care if you're drafted or not. We also drafted Chris Oladokun, the quarterback, in the 7th round. We got rid of him pretty fast. I don't think a punter should be any different. And let's be honest, punter's one spot where I'm sure you could go to the scrap heap and find 100 kids ready to come try out, because there's only 32 of them that are rostered anytime in the NFL. So it's not like it's hard to find a punter. As a matter of fact, I think we could go sign Jordan Berry, and as much as he drove me mad, at least his shanks were only 30-yard shanks. Losing football games when you're a growing team because of bad special teams is very disappointing. And at some point, I'm just going to blame Danny Smith, because if you waste a draft pick on a punter, that means Danny Smith loved that guy. So not only can Danny Smith not evaluate talent, he clearly can't coach up the people to do the proper things, because there is in no way, shape, or form the guy who blocks the field goal should be Calais Campbell. You should have schemes perfectly set up that there is zero chance that's the guy that blocks it. But neither here nor there. This defense, Gingy, I have one word for them, and this is all caps, 1,000 exclamation points. SOFT, 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 soft. They are softer than the Angel Soft I use. They are softer than Charmin Double Strong. They know the Baltimore Ravens are going to be running the ball because, let's be honest, Baltimore's second-string quarterback gets knocked out. They're on their third-string quarterback. Mike Tomlin puts his faith in the defense again. We get into a one-score game, 2 minutes-ish to go. We kick the ball deep after the touchdown because we have faith in the SOFTs out there. And these dudes just get it run right down their throat. Because when it came to be man up, man to man. Okay, so I think we're back. I'm going to try to remember where I had left off previously. But I believe, Genji, I was talking about these offensive linemen being, or not the offensive, defensive linemen being soft out there. They were losing one-on-one matchups. I just lost my internet, so we're restarting over, trying to figure out where we were. But individual matchups in the running game, they know the ball's going to be run. There's a third-string quarterback who hasn't thrown the ball at all, but he didn't turn the ball over. And these guys just got obliterated at the point of attack. And the Steelers are supposed to be a defensive football team. Mike Tomlin's putting his faith in them, and they just can't get the job done. When is this more of a, oh my gosh, this team's not very good concern than this team's close concern?
Six weeks ago.
Whenever you're letting your rival run for 8 yards a carry, what was it, 15 for $120, something like that, crazy for Dobbins?
Yeah, his first game back, and he just absolutely ran over us. I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but it was darn near embarrassing with this soft team just not getting the job done. But
yeah, 15 for $120.
It is what it is.
There's
no saviors coming unless you believe that. Well, the Ola Danny signing didn't happen because he failed a physical. But the defensive tackle that we just brought in from the Jets, unless you feel that guy's going to be a savior, how does this team fix it?
I don't know, Donkey. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't have an answer to that. Conditioning is my best offer on this.
Yeah, it's Donkey. I don't. We're in that transition period. You know, we built a team around Ben Roethlisberger, and just because Ben Roethlisberger goes, that's not the only really domino to fall here. There's going to be a real changing of the guard moving forward, and I know how it's more. The Steelers fans we like the idea of a reload rather than a rebuild, but. I think you know where I'm going with this, Donkey.
It clearly was going to be a rebuild. I said that before, and I said what scares me is when we gave Ben that last year because of the money not being invested in other spots, it becomes a 3-year rebuild rather than a 2-year rebuild. I'm more scared that it's a 4 or 5-year rebuild right now, and it's more because of the organizational structure than anything else is my main concern. But, Gingy, I want to give it to you and Laskers for final thoughts on the Ravens game and, of course, the Gingy differential for the game and what made the loss happen. Laskers, you want to go first? Final thoughts on the Ravens game?
Trash.
Fair. Gingy, differential.
Just
final thoughts.
Getting rained on at the end. You know the differential is, Donkey? Not taking care of the ball. Turnovers on offense. Those not only are those turnovers occurring, they're occurring on the side of the field where you can turn them into points. And that's the differential for me this game. You got to take care of it. If you're not going to be outstanding, if you're going to only score 16 points a game, I don't know what the average is this season, but 20 seems like a real stretch on any given Sunday. And if you're going to do that, you can't give away the ball, Donkey.
I hear you on that. I don't disagree with anything that was said there. I love the differential. By the way, I just remembered that Jonathan Marshall is a defensive tackle we signed away from the Jets. They have a deep defensive line, so maybe he has a little bit of talent there, but nothing to see there. Gingy, I know that I'm going to go into a new segment after this, but I want to ask a couple questions of you guys first. What is the identity of this Pittsburgh Steelers football team? Laskers, Gingy, do you guys have an answer for that?
We have an identity.
Fair, Gingy.
Oh boy. I'd like to have a good answer for this. Like I said,
going with my answer.
No. We really don't. From week to week, Donkey, it's okay. If I were to give this team an identity, it's splash plays on defense make the win, and the offense just hangs on.
Can I read you guys a quote from the post-game show after this loss? Stan Savran, Charlie Batch, I don't remember the caller's name on the radio, comes up and he says this: the Steelers' identity is really simple. We joke about it at work. The Steelers are really good at 3-yard passes unless they need 3 yards. And nothing summed up the Steelers better that I've ever heard than that quote right there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Seems to be pretty literal in its translation, but accurate.
I thought that was fun. Gingy, I know you like segments, so I have a little fun one here. We're going to go ahead into Donkey's Diatribe. You know what that?
Oh, boy.
Or diatribe. You know what that means? It's time for me to rant and be angry for no reason whatsoever. But hey, it's fun, right? Okay.
Let's go with it.
Let's talk about what is wrong with the Pittsburgh Steelers. No, it's not the offense. No, it's not the defense. Yes, it is 110% the personnel management. And I'm going to tell you, these Pittsburgh Steelers are one bad offseason of falling into the trap that became the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it's all about the thought process of this team. There's no cutthroat mentality. There's no performance-based merit, although Mike Tomlin says it. Because say what you want, do either of you two believe there was an actual quarterback contest to start this season? Or do you believe Mitch Trubisky, when he signed, was promised the starting job?
Oh, I think he was definitely promised.
Did it look like he was the guy?
Just look at what the players are saying right now.
Just look at what Mitch Trubisky said when he got benched. This is not what I was told was going to happen when I signed here. That's what he said. He let you know the Steelers are signing people, promising them jobs, even if they don't perform. You don't believe that? Explain to me Presley Harvin then. How the hell does a punter who shanks one and cost you 2 football games now this year still have a job? You don't even bring in other punters to try out. This management crew has to show they can go back to old school Steeler way, which is cutthroat. A player's done, you let him go. A player's not performing, there's the door. But this isn't how the Pittsburgh Steelers are. There's no backups in waiting. There's no Larry Foots getting drafted to be developed. There's the signing of the Swiss Army knife. They have versatility bull crap that I hear the Pirates say every year with player position versatility matters. No, it doesn't. If a crappy player is crappy at 5 positions, does not make him a valuable player. Does that sound fair to say, Laskers? I know you like baseball, so I thought that'd be a good analysis there. That just because you can play 5 positions crappy doesn't make you a good player.
I'm just over here laughing because it's 100% true on what you said, that it doesn't make you a good player.
It is, and that's the problem. That's what the Steelers are falling in love with now, is position versatility. The Pittsburgh Pirates also, when they sign a big piece of crap, this is how they sell it to you. But guess what? He's a great person in the locker room. What's the Steelers' draft process? We don't necessarily take the most talented player because we want a player who had leadership, who showed the ability to lead, who was a good player in college, was a good person in the community. I don't give a crap. Give me Antonio Brown 10 days of the week. Make him perform on Sundays. I don't care that Najee Harris is the nicest guy in the world. That's great. That's a way to sell him extra. But that should not be the determining factor of why players are being taken. And here's the kicker that makes me think we're becoming the Pittsburgh Pirates. When was the last time, either of you can answer this, when was the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers went out there and they signed a marquee top-level free agent player instead of just droving in the bottom tier of free agents? Anyone have an answer there?
No.
Gingy?
I got nothing.
That's what I mean. Say what you want. This team is becoming the Pittsburgh Pirates. Were they saved by a Hall of Fame type talent? Hell yeah. Ben Roethlisberger had a much longer and luxurious career that kept them afloat than, say, Andrew McCutchen, because the Pirates got rid of Andrew McCutchen and actually got decent value for him, where the Steelers rode out the Ben era to stay mediocre as long as possible. But when you look at this team, and Gingy, me and you had this conversation beforehand, How many above average starters do you see between offense and defense on this football team?
I
I think we're
between
5.
offense and defense. I see 4.
We were at 4 or 5. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a first round pick every year. You have a second round pick every year. They're under contract for 5 years respectively or 4 years respectively. So that means you should have at least 9 above average football players on a team minimum every year if you don't sign any from the outside the organization and don't keep any of your prior ones. Why the hell do the Steelers not have 9 above average football players if we've had 9 first and second round draft picks? Is this a huge player development problem? Is this a management problem? Where's the problem? Are we not developing them, or are we just not evaluating talent well enough? Where's the problem here, guys?
Bad coaching.
Fair enough. Gingy?
Execution. I mean, on paper, all these guys are hitters. Maybe not some of the ones on defense. All right, that's a little sus. Louder milk? ?
Devin Bush, Terrell Edmonds.
Okay, leave Terrell Edmonds out of this.
I love T. You know I love T Boogie, but a first round draft pick on T Boogie, Gingy? Are you kidding me?
It was a late rounder. All right, what else was out there?
I believe there were 3 All-Pro offensive linemen drafted in the second round of that draft. Wouldn't you like to have one of them?
Quite possible, yeah. Quite possible,
Well,
but
yeah,
I hear you. I hear you on the talent development. Najee,
4th round running back. Not
should
gonna
have
change my
fit.
mind.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to his hands. I really wanted him to develop more in that area, kind of like Le'Veon did, without trying to demand a wide receiver plus running back salary. But yeah, that was kind of a miss. But maybe we'll see. I'm still not convinced that the Liz Frank late training camp hasn't been the problem all season.
I agree with you, but even if you go to his rookie year, there's still not the explosiveness there that needs to be there for him to be a first round draft pick.
I agree. For
that guy's a 4th round draft pick,
and
he's a good 4th rounder. But I mean, I don't see much difference between him and Chuba Hubbard, except he touches the ball 25 times a game. Chuba Hubbard only gets it 4. It's not a guy who has explosive speed. It's not a guy who really put up crazy numbers. Now, I'm hoping for a 3rd year like Josh Jacobs having in Vegas. Don't get me wrong, but at what point do we start looking at the fact that the Steelers are afraid of competition? They want guys who just put along to get along. You don't believe it. What happened to Mark Ingram when he said he wanted more playing time because he was a better player? Bye-bye. What happened to LeGarrette Blount when he said he wanted the football because he could perform better? Bye-bye. What happened to Isaiah Buggs, who's now starting in Detroit, when he got in a fight with Carlos Davis? Bye-bye. This is what the Steelers do. They don't want cutthroat. They don't want competition. They want you to know your place and get in your place.
Shut the hell up.
And if you don't believe it, what did Mike Tomlin say he was looking for this year if they were going to add depth at linebacker? Someone who knows what they should expect and aren't upset when they get it. He doesn't want people fighting to be the next. He wants guys to get in line. And that is a problem for me. That's why you don't see this cutthroat mentality. That's why he was so scared to put Kenny Pickett at the number 2, because he knew at the slightest sign of Mitch Trubisky failing, the fans would lose their mind for the rookie. That's why he was so scared to do it, but the Steeler Nation forced him to do it. Matt Canada forced him to do it because Matt Canada knows it's only his job on the line too. And don't get me wrong still. I'm still 100% sure Matt Canada is the reason Kenny Pickett's playing and not Mike Tomlin. At the end of the day,
let's throw this out there. How much do you want to bet? So it's pretty clear that Kenny's probably not starting at this point in the week.
Doubtful. Yep.
How much you want to bet first quarter when Mitch starts? Because that's what's going to happen. When he's sucking, Mason's going to be chanted.
Oh, I'll be chanting it before the game starts. I don't even care if Mitch has a good game. Mason Rudolph has been such a good soldier here in Pittsburgh and has gotten screwed over so hard since he was drafted because Ben didn't like him. I'm not saying Mason's a good quarterback, but this organization has done him so wrong. I just want to see him get a chance to go out there and showcase himself for the other 31 teams because that's what he would be doing. And I'd love to see him get that chance. But I'm not quite done with my diatribe yet. I still have to say, we let guys like Steven Nelson go, never replace him at cornerback. It's starting to show out there. And this is the big one for me. There is no performance-based matter in the Steelers offense because if there was, Gingy, if you had an offensive lineman who got your quarterback hurt not once but twice in a season, would that guy be playing?
No.
So why the hell is Dotson still playing? Because both of Kenny Pickett's concussions are because that fool can't read an assignment and can't block.
A good question.
Oh, question 2 for you. Juju Smith-Schuster or Deontay Johnson worth more money?
Oh, I don't know. That's a complicated question for me. They're one and the same. Deontay might have
Juju.
I don't know. We'll see.
I say Juju
I don't
too
think
just
so.
because he blocks. Deontay doesn't block. Juju's physical. Deontay runs away from contact. It's just, for me, the optics of the receiver. I mean, Deontay's the more elusive guy, don't get me wrong. But Juju's the guy I'd rather have on my team because of the way he plays football. But you're telling me Juju isn't worth $8 million to the Steelers, but Deontay Johnson's worth $18 million, Gingy? Does that seem right?
Nope.
Okay. And I got another question for you. I mean, I like the fact that they actually went out and signed offensive linemen, but neither one of the offensive linemen they signed were very top-tier guys. And then, let me ask you a question. What's your evaluation of Chuck Sikora for?
Average. An
Mhm.
average
Okay.
lineman.
Last year's fair.
No, let's go back to the Deontay Juju. Who has more touchdowns? Juju. Who has more receiving yards? Juju. Who has more receptions? Deontay. But who has more yards per reception? Oh, that's Juju.
Yeah, but you're ignoring the last 2 years. Juju and Deontay Johnson both played on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay outperformed Juju the last 2 years. They were both Steelers.
Yeah, no,
in almost every
I,
category.
I don't disagree with that statement. As I'm looking at specifically this year, yeah.
Well, to be
100%
fair, one's
Juju
getting
is
thrown
on
to by
the-
fucking Patrick Mahomes.
Juju is on a better team this year. There's no
Yeah.
question about that.
He's
but-
the number one receiver there, albeit Travis Kelce's the number one pass catcher there.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
The numbers are definitely in Juju's favor.
This year, yeah, he's playing in a more wide open offense. Deontay's struggling to adapt to whatever the heck's going on here in Pittsburgh. But this was my whole point is, I think this is a management problem. I think you're one offseason away from becoming the Pittsburgh Pirates because if the Steelers do not become cutthroat this offseason and look to replace average players, we're in trouble. I mean, this is back-to-back years. We traded a draft pick to the Jaguars to get a crappy, overpaid middle linebacker. They didn't just fool us once, Gingy. They fooled us twice. Hell, next year, you think we're going to trade for another overpaid linebacker from the Jaguars? Because it seems like to be the Steeler thing, right? I mean, every year is what we do. I just can't get over it. I had to go on a rant because this has been building in me. This team just doesn't have identity. We don't want players to fight for positions. We want you to be given. We want you to take it and then do. The standard is the standard. Gingy, am I wrong to think that the standard sucks?
Well, Donkey, you can only work with you're talking about this right now. Okay, let's make this point. We are putting a lot on the coaches here. We put a lot on the coaching from week to week here in Pittsburgh, right? You just described.
I'm blaming the management.
Okay, management overall. We're talking about, yes, because we're not bringing in talent. We're talking about an overall substandard set of talent for what we're putting on the field. Exceptions be there few.
TJ Watt,
like TJ Watt. Yes, exactly.
Maybe Pat Freiermuth.
I don't want to offend him because he's
no, he's playing broken and looks like he's playing broken.
Yeah. But yeah, we're working with a substandard set of tools, and hopefully Kenny Pickett can still develop, and that's where you need it at. right? As the quarterback position, everything builds around there, and we'll see.
I hear you on that, but if you have a good offensive line, you have a good play caller, you have a good system, you can win with Brock Purdy. I'm just going to put it out there. The Niners look pretty damn good. What's it, 2-0 with Brock Purdy under center? Mr. Irrelevant in this year's football draft? The fact of the matter is, if Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin had done a decent job of evaluating and acquiring talent before this year, we wouldn't be talking about we need a quarterback to save us. You know who needs a quarterback to save them? Poorly run franchises, Gingy. That's where the Steelers sit. The Steeler Nation needs to turn their heads and realize that's what we've become. Whether or not we stay there is up to Omar Khan. And like I said, this offseason is going to be huge. But we have been a poorly run organization that's been trending downward. Hopefully this is the bottom, but there's a good chance this isn't. The Steelers fans might need to get ready for darker days ahead, Gingy, because this division looks like 3 teams on the up and potentially 1 on the down.
Well, I hear you, Donkey. That's one side of the coin. However, I somewhat disagree with the statement of the desperate teams. Any good team needs a quarterback. Okay, so you're saying that Kansas City was in a desperate position before Patrick Mahomes? No, they were in a regular Steeler position where they would make it and be one and done. They would typically lose to the Steelers in that position with Alex Smith in it.
Donkey wants to use his one pause.
No.
Can I use my one pause?
Okay.
Kansas City had Alex Smith. They didn't rush around Patrick Mahomes, and they never said they needed their quarterback developed to be successful because Alex Smith had got them to the playoffs and won a playoff game. There's a big difference here between what the Steelers are and what Kansas City was. If we drafted Kenny Pickett last year and he sat behind Ben Roethlisberger, this is a different thing. But what the Steelers did was they built the team purely around Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger leaves, and all of a sudden the team's devoid of talent because they have too much dead money, because they hadn't drafted the positions that needed it, because we were trying to get skilled position players to make it easier. And now all of a sudden we're sitting in a terrible spot needing the quarterback to develop because if he takes the normal development route, which is sit a year, wait a year, it's not going to work. Because remember, Patty Mahomes didn't play year 1, or if he did, it was at the end of year 1. But I believe he sat year 1 for the most part. Just like Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that's the same sentiment from those other teams. When you look at teams who I said they feel like they hit a quarterback, they need it, you're talking the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, the New York Giants, the Detroit Lions, all those teams that wasted that first pick and said, if he develops, we'll be a good team. That's what the Steelers are saying. The Chiefs never said if Mahomes develops, we'll be a good team. They were a good team before Mahomes got inserted. The Steelers have to have that quarterback development to be a good team, and that's how you end up in desperation, because if he doesn't develop in 2 years, you panic and you draft another quarterback, and then 3 years from now, you look back, you've lost 10 straight seasons, and you feel like you're the Cleveland Browns.
And by the way, you're right. His first season, he played 1 game and threw 1 interception and 35 attempts.
Yeah, I believe they had a bye week.
No,
so they gave him a game to rest Alex Smith.
No touchdowns.
But is that fair, Gingy? That's why I wanted to pause. I think we were on 2 different lines here on what needing a quarterback meant.
I still stand by my statement, right? That was a team that was getting beat first round every year, that had no chances against the powers of that time. I feel like if Kenny Pickett was, we would be in that same position, just looking in the opposite position, looking for skilled people around him. We've missed on a couple, Donkey. All right. In my opinion, that's what happens. When it's like kicking a guy when he's down. Ben Roethlisberger transition was going to be hard either way. And during this time, in my opinion, we missed on a couple guys. James Daniels was something that he's not. Deontay Johnson, unfortunately, in my opinion, is supposed to be something that he's not. When you have those multiple misses compound upon each other at the same time, yeah, you turn a 2-year rebuild into a 4-year.
I hear what you're saying, but James Daniels is exactly what he is when we signed him. He's an offensive lineman who's a younger guy, a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker, which is no surprise why the Steelers' run game has improved since we brought in him and Mason Cole, as opposed to the 2 weak links we had last year in Trey Turner and Kendrick Green. He is what he is. The bigger problem is the Steelers tried to sell him like he was an all-pro offensive guard when we signed him, when he was an above-average offensive guard, and that's all he's going to be for now unless we develop him.
At the end of the day, we need a center and a left tackle badly. Like,
we need a left
badly.
guard. Dotson's terrible. The more I watch Steeler football, the more I realize Dotson's the worst offensive lineman on this team.
We still need a center at the very minimum.
Mason Cole's passable, so I'll leave him there. If you're going to replace Mason Cole, you might as well replace Chuck Okorafor. That's my biggest problem is the Steelers just are devoid of talent last year. There's really few positions where you can say the Steelers don't need to upgrade. Fair?
That's definitely true. I don't know what we don't really need to upgrade.
TJ Watt.
Except for TJ Watt, yeah. That was going to be my example, too.
Watt and Boswell. I'll keep them.
Yeah, that's about it.
Gingy, anyone else you think doesn't need to be upgraded? I know you love Minkah, so this is your time to let him shine.
He's still a guy there. He might not be the guy that you want. He's not Troy Polamalu. I'm sorry. I want him to be too. He's not going to be.
Is he second highest paid safety in the league money?
How many of those are in the league right now, though? I'm thinking, okay, look at the talent in the league during Troy Polamalu.
Only one I know.
He's still not Troy Polamalu or Ed Reed. Talent during that level was out of sight.
Can Matthew Wright punt the ball?
In a Derwin James category. Top 3.
I just don't. My opinion. My biggest problem is the Steelers are overpaying for mediocre talent that they have on the roster. Mainly, I'm not saying that with Minkah, but they overpaid, in my opinion, for Minkah. What I'm mainly looking at is Chuck's a full core for getting like top 15 money as a right tackle is a little laughable because he's never going to be a top 15 right tackle. It's just the management on this team has me concerned that, like I said, the rebuild from the Steelers, if they did it right, could have been 2 years. I'm more scared it's the 5-6 year type of rebuild before you're back to a championship competitor. Doesn't mean a winning team, but before you have that team that's rosters able to compete for a championship, we could be 5 years away. And that's what's scary to me, and I don't like it. But that pretty much sums up my diatribe there. You guys got any closing thoughts on Donkey's rant?
No.
I feel it.
We have 2 kickers. That's my summation. We have 2 kickers.
Mr. Doink it in. All right, let's get to the Pittsburgh-Carolina game. Pittsburgh 6-1 all-time versus the Panthers. Pretty good. 4-1 at home, 2-1 on the road, which is we're playing this game. The largest win, the Steelers, they won by a bunch way back in 2006. It was 37-3, I believe. That's a heck of a score. Carolina's biggest win was by 4. The first meeting of the series in 1996. They won 18-14 in Carolina. The longest streak is Pittsburgh. This is currently a streak of 7. That started in 1999. Carolina's streak was a whopping 1 game in 96. Their last meeting was the 18th of November in the year 2018 with the Steelers winning 52-21. Let's go Steelers. Could use some of that today, I tell you what. That'd make things a little nicer.
They lit them up in prime time, I think, in that game. I remember that.
I'll believe you on that. Let's break down the Panthers a little further. Offensively, they're 24th in points, 30th in yards, 30th in pass yards, 13th in the rush yards, though. They're pretty good at running the football. Sam Darnold is 2-0 as a starter since he came back. Defensively, they're 13th in points, 16th in yards, 15th in pass, 24th in rush. That's where the weakness is. Sacks, they're 19th in the league with 28 interceptions. They're 12th in the league with 10. Time of possession, they're second to last, only getting the ball 28 minutes, 20 seconds a game. What are you guys looking for out there when you see the Panthers, knowing what the stats say and knowing what the history is here? We're going down to Carolina. Could be a home game for the Steelers. You know how we like to travel on the road. Gingy, how you feeling?
Let's go to offense. Let's get a show of it. I know that we're still statistically maybe.
All right, Gingy, you're a robot. Reset your mic really quick, and we'll go over to Laskers. You hit us up first.
And the one thing I'm going to say is that 2006 game, holy shit, Willie Parker threw or ran for a hell of a game. So hopefully Najee
Fast
can do the same
Willie's
thing.
man.
Yeah, hopefully Najee can do the same thing.
Hey, if we were looking at Fast Willie last, because I'm just saying Jalen Warren, he's the little faster back we got there. Maybe it's time for a de facto Jalen Warren game, getting lots and lots of carries. Gingy, whenever you're back with us, feel to break in, say hi. I'll keep
Hello,
going
coming
from there.
back. We're talking, oh man, we're looking this weekend. Gonna have to see some offense, Donkey. Gonna have to see something to hang your hat on after last weekend. All right, very demoralizing overall.
That's fair. Weaknesses on Carolina might be that pass game. I mean, you're talking DJ Moore's a good wide receiver, but really no tight ends to talk of. Marshall and Chenault have a lot of speed. Donta Foreman and Chubba Hubbard make a nice 1-2 punch in the running game. That's what's been their success going forward. And hell, if it gets down to it, their punter Heckler averages like 49 yards a punt. He's been pretty darn good this year. Defensively, they have a playmaker on all three levels. They're not very good at any level on defense, but I'll tell you right now, Brian Burns, 10.5 sacks, a first-round pick like 3 years ago. Shaq Thompson, a first-round pick like 7 years ago. Huge middle linebacker, almost had 100 tackles again. Not huge, but, plays huge. Your typical modern-day middle linebacker. And then they have the young guy, J.C. Horn. I believe that's Joe Little Bighorn's kid, I believe. He has 3 interceptions, so the defense has playmakers all around out there. Concerning if Kenny Pickett can't go, and we have to look at triple pick Trubisky and Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
Definitely
Gonna be some
trouble.
trouble there for me. Yeah, got to see a better performance than last week, Donkey. Otherwise, you're gonna get the same result.
Yeah, that's
Bottom line.
That's fair. You guys worried about the fact that the Panthers are pretty good at running the football after the demoralizing way the Steelers just got the ball shoved down their throat last week, for lack of better terms? And do you expect any personnel difference? I know Miles Jack is doubtful. Does that mean perhaps we finally get to see Mark Robinson on the field on defense?
Gotta stop the run. That's what I'm going with. And we knew the run was coming last week, and we couldn't stop the run.
S-O-F-T. Soft. Gingy, any thoughts on that side of the ball?
I'm hoping we're going to see better performance against the run this week. I'm hoping that Captain Cam gets those boys together in the locker room, and we get to see a little bit of pride this week, maybe against the run. I expect a better performance, in my opinion.
I hope so. We've spent so much money on that unit to watch them just falter at every turn. But then again, when you're undersized at every position, I think it shows, especially against these bigger, more physical teams. I don't know what to expect this week, but I'm not sure, especially without Pickett playing, I'm not sure the Steelers have an advantage on any 3 areas of the football field, Laskers.
Oh, I can't think of any. I guess maybe field goal kicking
Possibly.
should be the 4th one, but
I just it unnerves me here, Gingy, that I look at this game and I'm like, man, on paper this is a scary game. But let's be honest here. This is 2 below average football teams playing each other. And most of the time when you have 2 below average football teams playing each other, it's who comes up with the better scheme that's going to win the game or who doesn't turn the ball over. But Gingy, Steelers once again lose the first quarter, lose the game. Can the Steelers get out and win that first quarter this week?
They better. No turnovers and consistent play is the key to victory here.
I like that.
You don't need to blow the top off them, Donkey. For real, you don't need to blow the top off Carolina Panthers to win. All right, they're not going to be a playoff contending team. You got to do enough.
Are you telling me there wouldn't be a little stain in your pants if the Steelers put up 52 points? Are you telling me that wouldn't happen?
God, it'd be nice to see. I don't see a way, Donkey. I'm not even confident enough to see a way. What's that tell you?
The Yinzer Mafia part of the show is going down strong. Laskers, I need some positivity. What are you seeing here? Not a prediction, just what you seeing in this game. How are you feeling?
I was going down. Hey, they are a playoff team at this point. They're one game back.
Oh God.
The Steelers, if they play in that division, would make the playoffs just because we own that division. By the way, 3-0 versus the NFC South. Let's not forget to point that out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And funny thing is, I
So
can't
that's fun.
actually see that they are one game back, but that's definitely what they are. It doesn't tell me that.
Let's get into prediction time. Laskers, I believe you told me the Baltimore game got moved to Saturday. Is it the Browns
Yes.
or the Bengals they're playing?
Browns.
Browns. All right. Gingy, wait, are we in Baltimore or at Cleveland?
At Cleveland.
Cleveland.
All right, Baltimore at Cleveland, Gingy, who you got?
Give me Baltimore.
Laskers.
Give me Baltimore by 21.
Sean doesn't look clean. Doesn't look crisp.
I think the Brownies win this one just because I saw what the Steelers were able
Donkey
to do
needs
there.
points.
Donkey's making a comeback, baby. Let's go.
Donkey was supposed to tell us what the numbers were this week, but Donkey needs points.
Yeah, I didn't do it because this week I've gotten like 3 feet of snow, so I've been outside every day just moving a foot of snow for like 4 hours a day. It's really, really fun. All right, who do the Bengals got this week, Laskers?
Buccaneers
Ooh, at Tampa.
at Tampa.
Laskers, who you got?
I got the Bengals by 6. This is a weird
Did you-
score, but I'm going with it.
Ooh, give me the Bengals. They're looking scary. They're looking like they did at the end of last year when they were trying to go on a run.
Yeah, they sure as hell are. Give me the Bengals in that one, too. Last but not least, we got the Steelers going to Carolina to have themselves some fun. I need a prediction and an X Factor. Askers?
Oh boy. This is gonna hurt, but Panthers by 10. I'm not even gonna give this final score. I'm going by points. My X factor is gonna be Najee. Unfortunately, we need the running game to step up.
Fair. Gingy?
Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-20. X Factor. Pat Freiermuth. That's our offensive key right
It's a safe
now.
pick. It's a safe
Offensive.
pick with
It is.
what's happening lately.
I feel like the offense is gonna, if it's gonna run, it's gonna run through him this week. One of those backup
last week.
quarterbacks. One of those backup quarterbacks is going to be in there, and they both like him a lot. So
I just hope it's not one Mitch or one Reed Mitch. I like Gingy's score there, but not quite the same. I like the Steelers at 24. I like the Panthers at 17. I like my X factor to be TJ Watt because the difference in this game is going to be. Laskers is right. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball a lot because I don't trust any of those quarterbacks to throw the ball. But more importantly, Sam Darnold's played turnover-free football for 2 straight games. Does anybody remember Sam Darnold ever playing turnover-free football for 3 straight games? Yeah, me neither. TJ Watt gonna come in, gonna force a turnover, whether it be he makes one of them crazy, freaky, deaky interceptions where you have no idea how he does it, forces a fumble. I don't care. Sam Darnold, you're turning the ball over. The Steelers are winning this game. Chalk it up, because Donkey's always right. You know that. Except for when I'm not.
Yikes.
Just don't count those times. I guess that leads us to shout-outs. Gingy, just a question. Do we have one after that game?
absolutely not. Disgusting.
Okay, fair enough. Laskers, do we have one after that game?
I'm giving a shout out to Micah because I have no shout outs.
He has been killing it out there, so I'll give you that. My
Presley
shout-out's going to
Harvin,
be
no
plain
more
and
under
simply.
20.
That's not a shout out, Ginger. That's just a call out.
I turned mine into a call out.
My shout
No
out
more
is
under 40.
to
Golly.
Chris Wormley. Man, you hate to see that injury happen to a dude in a contract year who once again started playing pretty good football at the end of the year for the Steelers. Played good last year. 30-year-old guy tears an ACL. Bad timing for that. Wish him nothing but the best. So I have to give a shout out to him for the way he's played and the way he's given it for this team. And I hope him the speediest of all recoveries. I guess that means it's time. I'm the Viking Donkey. It's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose donkey with Ginger's YouTube channel. Check out the Bug Cap, which is really just me recapping the game with Bug Blue, giving it some input, and he's actually giving him input now. So make sure you check that out. We got the Power Ranking Show. Give us yours. Tell us what you think. Try to add a fun factoid every team has going on with them. Obviously, catch the Flag Show episode Steelers Talk right here, right now. Gingy Lasker's always keeping it entertaining. And you don't want to miss it, so hit the little bell so you know when it comes up. Laskers, to you.
Fuck, Gingy, we gotta give a factoid now. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Okay.
Laskers
Yeah.
everywhere.
Stand strong. Stand strong, Lasters. This is Mutant Gingy. We hanging out. We playing some games. We talking to football. Holy folks, Jackson Jennings. Steelers Nation. Let's get a dub this week. Let's make it 4-0 versus the NFC Stank South. Steelers Nation. Wave them if you got them. Here we go.